Resistance weaponry. The most successful submachine gun of the European resistance cost $5 to make. It was stamped from scrap steel. It fired from an open bolt. It could misfire if you looked at it wrong. But the Sten gun killed more German soldiers in occupied Europe than any Allied rifle. The British did not design it for their own troops. They designed it to be built in bicycle shops. The real weapon was not the gun. The real weapon was the machine tool hidden under a pile of firewood. Resistance weaponry was never about quality. It was about quantity and deniability. One Sten could be stripped and hidden inside a loaf of bread. A dozen could be assembled in a single night. The British faced a problem in 1940. After Dunkirk, they had lost enough rifles to equip the entire German army twice over. They needed a cheap, fast, disposable submachine gun. The War Office wanted something any factory with a drill press could make. The designer, Major Reginald Shepard, started with a tube. Then he added a spring, a bolt, and a trigger sear. The Sten MKI had 60 parts. The Mk2 had 47. The less said about the Mk3's finish, the better. The genius was the open bolt design. Pull the trigger, the bolt slammed forward, stripped a round, and fired it. No locking lugs. No complex breech. If the bolt got dirty, you wiped it with an oily rag and kept shooting. The downside was safety. Drop a Sten on concrete, and it might fire. The resistance learned to carry them with the magazine removed. The SOE Air dropped entire Sten production kits into France and the Netherlands. Each kit contained pre-stamped receivers, barrels, springs, and a set of simple jigs. A competent machinist could build a working Sten in 4 hours. The resistance called them plumber's delight. The Germans called them a nightmare, because they could not tell which bicycle shop was a factory until someone started shooting. The Sten got the headlines. But the cleverest resistance weapon was a firecracker in a box of soap. The SOE developed an entire catalog of improvised explosives designed to look like everyday objects. A lump of coal that exploded when thrown into a locomotive's firebox. A fountain pen that fired a .32 caliber dart. The most effective was the time pencil. A glass ampule of acid, a copper wire, and a spring-loaded striker. Break the ampule, the acid ate through the wire, and when the wire snapped, the striker fired the detonator. Delay times ranged from 10 minutes to 24 hours. The resistance could plant a bomb and be 2 countries away before it went off. The French resistance became experts at rail sabotage. Not by blowing up bridges, which brought German engineers and reprisals. By blowing up the single signal box on a remote branch line. One explosion, 10 pounds of explosive, and an entire division's supply train sat idle for 2 days. The Germans could guard every bridge. They could not guard every telephone pole, every culvert, every coal pile. The sticky bomb was less successful. You slapped it onto a passing tank. In theory. In practice, the adhesive stuck to the user's uniform more often than the German armor. But the resistance kept using it because it cost nothing to make, and every German tank that burned was a tank not coming back. The overlooked limit was not explosives or guns. It was electricity. Every resistance network needed batteries. For radio transmitters. For detonators. For flashlights used in night drops. Batteries died. Batteries could not be recharged without a power grid. And the Germans controlled the power grid. The SOE solution was the clockwork torch. A hand-cranked generator built into a flashlight. 1 minute of cranking gave 30 seconds of light. A resistance operator might crank for an hour just to send a 5-word message. The human limit was trust. Every resistance cell operated on a need-to-know basis. You knew your 3 people. They knew 3 people. Nobody knew the whole network. This saved lives. But it also meant that a Sten gun built in one village might have the wrong caliber magazine delivered from the next village. The most common resistance weapon malfunction was not mechanical. It was receiving ammunition for a gun you did not have. One resistance fighter in Warsaw described the Sten as a weapon that makes you appreciate every round that actually leaves the barrel. The Sten's magazine spring was weak. If you loaded more than 28 rounds, it would jam on the 3rd shot. The resistance learned to load 25. And to carry a wooden dowel to clear jams. And to never fire from the hip, because the open bolt threw sparks straight down onto your legs. Resistance weaponry succeeded precisely because it was bad. Cheap enough to give away. Simple enough to repair with pliers. Disposable enough to throw in a river after one use. The German military-industrial complex built precision machines. The resistance built problems. When the war ended, most Sten guns were melted down. The machine tools returned to making bicycles. And the lesson remained.